Hey y'all, Iric Sky here, and I appreciate all your questions, your subscriptions. It's been great, and there's so many questions, but one of the questions that I've kept getting, which is understandable, is should I buy the Peloton bike or should I buy the Schwinn IC4? I don't know. So that's what I'm going to answer within this video. So I performed my due diligence. When I was looking for an indoor exercise bike, because of the pandemic, I wasn't going to the gym, hadn't been to the gym in a few weeks, then it turned into a few months and I started to get really fat, and I'm still fat, but I've lost a lot of weight because I've been doing the Schwinn IC4. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what I did and why I ended up getting the Schwinn IC4 and why I'm so happy with the Schwinn IC4. So starting out, needing to work out at home, I had a treadmill in the past, and that treadmill was, I got the hiccups. I ate a bunch of junk food. Hold on. So the treadmill that I had, it was probably 7, 8, 9 years old. I can't remember how old. And, a treadmill takes up a lot of space. It makes noise when you run on it. Treadmill belts, they tend to wear out. Not rapidly, but eventually they will fail. The motor will probably fail. So, it took up a lot of space. And in the room I'm in right now, I wanted to redo it, and I wanted to maximize my space. So that was something that I took into consideration when I was shopping for a new indoor cardio piece of indoor cardio equipment, that made me lean towards the bikes. And obviously, technology with indoor exercise bike has changed drastically throughout the past 5 years or so. My previous indoor exercise bike, and you can even find the videos on my YouTube channel, the old bike I had friction pads. So they were it was kind of like a felt type material, and you would tighten it and it would press harder against the wheel and increase the resistance, or you loosen it up and it would be a lesser amount of resistance. And that worked, but it had its problems. Those pads would wear out. Those pads would heat up. Sometimes they would have a funny smell. It just wasn't an optimal indoor cycling experience. So fast forward a few years, you've got companies like Peloton, which they've done a good job. And actually, I credit Peloton for the emergence of awesome bikes like the Schwinn IC4 that use magnetic resistance. So this, and check out my other videos, but as I've demonstrated, this thing is whisper quiet because it's using magnetic resistance. Not only is it quiet, but it's a lot smoother pedal. And since it's magnetic resistance, when you adjust it, you're getting consistent results. Whereas with something with a physical friction pad, those can wear unevenly. There's no way to really predict. It gets hotter. That can affect the amount of resistance. There's a lot of factors that come into play with the older model indoor exercise bikes that you just don't. I mean, these are so much better, the Schwinn IC4 and the Peloton. And I know this video is to address the question, should I buy the Peloton or the Schwinn IC4? So should you buy the Schwinn IC4 or the Peloton bike? Peloton bike has a lot of cool things. Peloton bike has an integrated screen. So for example, if you're not in a place like I am where you can place your indoor exercise bike in front of a smart TV, there may be value in considering the Peloton. Yes, the Peloton, at least currently, is significantly more expensive than the Schwinn IC4, but obviously with the Schwinn IC4, you don't get an integrated screen. You get an integrated computer, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what you also don't get if you get the Peloton. Now you get a Peloton, you're going to get a screen, this, that, and the other, but you're going to be married to the Peloton subscription experience. Now, if you have a Peloton branded bike and you subscribe to the Peloton service, you're going to get some things through by having the Peloton branded bike that you won't get with the Schwinn IC4. There's some leaderboard components, there's some chat components, some stuff like that that for me personally doesn't matter. You know, I'm a chubby dude trying to burn off my gut. So, you know, I'm not here for social hour. You know, I could care less what you say while I'm doing an indoor exercise bike class. And I could care less if your avatar and screen name is higher ranked than mine. Who cares? As far as I know, you're cheating. You know, maybe you've got something, you've rigged that bike to where you're not actually pedaling. I don't care if you're beating me. I don't care if I'm number 1,000 out of, if there's 1,000 people and I'm number 1,000, number 1,000. I don't care. You know, as long as my gut's getting smaller, that's all I care about. So, I know it may seem like a kind of a crazy example, but it's true, because if you're buying a Peloton bike solely because you want to have the Peloton experience, you may be deeply impressed with what all the Peloton app for third-party bikes like the Schwinn IC4 can do. Again, there's going to be things you can't do, like certain leaderboard components and this, that, and the other. Peloton app I've been using for several weeks. I can track, you know, I'm not looking at leaderboards, obviously, because it's not currently part of that app. But I can track all my workouts, you know, the amount of calories I burned. The cool thing about the Peloton app is that I don't only use it with my Schwinn IC4. If I go outside for a walk, I fire up a Peloton outdoor activity, so I'm tracking my, you know, my progress when I'm walking or hiking. So it's very nice. The other thing that you may be unaware of, and I apologize, I've got some some nasal congestion. You know, we got all this sick stuff going around. One of the other things you may not be aware of is that at least currently, if you buy the Peloton branded bike and you subscribe to the Peloton service that works with the Peloton branded bike, you know, the screen and everything in it, that at least currently is significantly more expensive per month than the Peloton app that you use with the Schwinn IC4. So not only are you purchasing a more expensive bike, but you're also getting locked into a more expensive monthly subscription. The beauty of the IC4, and the reason I went with the IC4, and by the way, expand this video's description and then click the link there, and you can find where to order the IC4, the shoes like I use for my IC4, the mat like I use for my IC4, and a bunch of other good stuff like the smart TV that I use in front of my IC4. If you want to do it on the cheap, and you don't care about an app, you don't care about a screen, you know, whether it's attached to the bike or, you know, if it's your iPad or your iPhone, if all you want to do is get on and pedal, you can do that with the IC4. It's got a built-in computer. This computer is you know, it'll show the time that you've been riding. It'll show the estimated calories burned. It'll show your speed, and you can do imperial or metric. You know, if you like miles per hour, if you like kilometers per hour, you can choose, man. It'll show your estimated virtual distance traveled. It'll also show your resistance level. That's another thing. So you turn left to reduce resistance, turn right to increase resistance. One thing worth mentioning is that the resistance level is just a series of numbers. I mean, who cares? You know, it's low to high. But with the Peloton bike, when you're using the Peloton app with the IC4, when the Peloton instructor says, for example, go to resistance level 20, on the IC4, that resistance level is going to be slightly different. Simple solution. You can go on to Google and you can search for Peloton to Schwinn IC4 conversion chart. And there's tons of them out there that'll show you, you know, what to, if Peloton app says this resistance level, okay, if you're using your IC4, that's what you should do. After you've ridden a few rides, you memorize it. I mean, I know when the instructor says a certain number, I know where I need to be on my Schwinn IC4. That's, you know, I wanted to mention that because that's something you'll need to be aware of, but it's by no means a deal breaker. It's by no means an inconvenience. But that's worth mentioning. Again, if you wanted to ride this without an app, just get on the bike and ride. You can do that. You could use this computer exclusively. It comes with a heart rate monitor, but and that'll pair with this. But when I'm using Peloton or Zwift, or Peloton or Zwift, those are the only two apps I use. If I'm using those, I use my Apple Watch, just because I like the Apple Watch, and Apple Watch is tracking a lot more than just heart rate. So, but yeah, with this, with the included cycle computer, without a subscription, you could buy the bike, you could just pedal and look at the screen on this, not have any sort of app-enabled experience. But where it gets really fun, and this is also something you may not be aware of, if you get the Peloton branded bike, you're married to the Peloton subscription. The subscription that costs more, because it's a subscription that has more features within the Peloton experience, and it has more features within the Peloton experience, and it has a more expensive monthly subscription fee. So, you're married to that if you get the Peloton bike. It's an awesome experience, don't get me wrong. I love Peloton. Actually, the Peloton app is my preferred app for the IC4, because it's like you're in a gym. You've got an instructor there. Of course, it's all virtual, so you don't have to be exposed to people that are sick with the pandemic thing. So, to me, that's more motivational. I can spend 25 minutes, 45 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the workout duration is for a Peloton app cycling experience. I can spend that amount of time versus using Zwift, which is more of a cycling simulator. And different personality types. For me, the Peloton app pushes me harder. It makes me sweat more, gets my heart rate up more, makes me less fat more quickly. But for you, you may prefer the longer duration Zwift experience. Maybe that simulated cycling experience is what motivates you better during your indoor workouts. So it's again, regardless of what you're using, whether you're just using the integrated computer, if you're using an app like Zwift or Peloton app, this is an awesome experience. The quality of this, and if you haven't heard of the Schwinn brand, Schwinn's been making bicycles for many years. The quality is great. And check out my other videos where you see all the details, but the pedals, on one side you've got a toe cage where you can use a regular shoe, but I use the cycling shoes. Again, expand this video's description and click the link there to find the shoes like I use. But on the other side, if you have clipless shoes, the shoes like you use with a road bike that clip into the pedals, that's built into the other side of the pedal of the Schwinn IC4. And to make it even better, the pedals on the Schwinn IC4, even higher end mountain bikes or road bikes you'd find in a shop, they have pedals, and often those pedals, the perimeter of the pedal is kind of like there's a screw that kind of holds it together, and you know how they always pull apart. These pedals on the Schwinn IC4 seem to be a continuous piece. The build quality is great. The adjustability is excellent. If you're in a shared household, different riders, different heights, you can slide the handlebars forward or backwards. You can slide the handlebars up or down. The seat up or down. The seat can also go forward. The seat can also go backwards. So to get that maximum, customization for your body type, easy to do without tools. The other thing worth mentioning is that this is easy to move from room to room. If you're in a room where maybe you would need to sit it in front of your TV, but when you're finished working out, you need to pick it up and carry it into, say, a storage closet. This thing's easy to move. It's got wheels on the front where you could roll it, although I haven't used those because all that I did is lift it up. I mean, for most people, you can probably lift it up. And if you want to make it even lighter to lift on your own, pop the handlebars off, pop the seat post off with the, toolless, just quick disconnects, pop it off, take the bike by itself, and then come back and get the seat on the seat post and the handlebars on the handlebar post. And then that makes it even lighter to transport on your own. But you may not even have the need to do that. You may have a semi-permanent place in your residence where you can do that. But again, if you're moving it in front of the TV to do your smart TV workout, and then you put it in storage, being able to have something that's managed, the weight, although the build quality is exceptional, but the weight to transport is minimal. And then of course the width, I mean, this should fit through most any interior door that I've seen in a home. The other thing is the apps. So if you're using your app on like the Zwift or the Peloton app on a smartphone or an iPad, especially if you have a smart TV, where you can AirPlay from your iPad or your iPhone, you can. So what I do, I control it with my iPhone, and then I do AirPlay, and then I make it full screen on my smart TV by way of AirPlay, and I've got a sound bar and a wireless subwoofer. So it really sounds like you're in a gym. And the way I've got this set up, and again, you can find this smart TV like I use, a sound bar and the wireless subwoofer linked within this video's description. But the way I've set it up, I'm far enough away to where I'm not blowing and knocking sweat on the TV, because I hate, people that, get their electronics dirty with sweat. That's just nasty. So I don't do that. But I've got it positioned far enough away to where I have the feel that the instructor is just a few feet in front of me. And I've got, I can hear her or him or whatever talking, during the, telling you when to change your resistance and all that. And it's like you're really there. So I feel that I've created the perfect at-home cycling experience. I mean, it says this uses magnetic resistance. This should be a bike that should last. Again, I have not experienced any pops, ticks, clicks, whatever. And that's unusual for any real bicycle or, especially indoor home gym equipment. Home gym equipment has historically been prone to fail. This thing is a boss. No issues with the build quality, no issues with the performance yet. Again, I put about 700 miles on this so far, and I'm still fat. That's because I eat all kinds of stuff, and I enjoy good drinks, and I like to enjoy life. But I still need to work on this gut, man. You don't want to get too fat. The thing I always say is that if I can put 2 fingers between my pants and my gut, if I can put 2 fingers in there, I've still got room to grow. And if it starts to get tight and I start to go up a waist size, I never let that happen. I'll just binge eat tuna and drink water until I get less fat. And then I'll just, wash, rinse, repeat, man, and just do that. So this thing, would I buy the IC4 again, or would I buy the Peloton? I would buy the IC4 again without hesitation. And again, just to recap, excellent build quality, currently a price that is significantly less for the bike, a price that is significantly less for the app if you choose to use an app. But again, you don't even have to use an app. You could just use it with a computer. That's completely up to you. So you're not married to a particular app experience. You can use whatever app would be compatible with Schwinn IC4. And I just mentioned Zwift and Peloton, but there's Full Gas, there's Ruby, there's a long list. Check out, subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring that bell, and check out my playlist for Schwinn IC4. I've got a ton of videos showcasing some of the apps. But, I mean, it's just it is a rock solid experience. I mean, it's is there anything that I would like to see Schwinn add to a future version of the Schwinn IC4? There is, and they've done a bang up, excellent job with this. The only thing that I would suggest, and this is what I've discovered after 700 plus miles, would be if they could add a thing to where, so your display, when you turn the resistance, as I mentioned, it's going to show that resistance. But if they could add some sort of feature where you could say, mimic whatever resistance. So for example, if you were using Schwinn IC4 with Peloton, maybe there's some sort of button you could press within the interface that would change the number displayed to be in agreement with what the Peloton level is. That would be cool. I mean, not this a problem to have a chart and just know that if instructor in Peloton says this, then I know that IC4 I need to do that. It's not that difficult, but it would seem that, for lack of a better word, for lack of a better explanation, it would seem that Schwinn would be able to put in an option there that would perform that conversion for you, so you don't have to convert because it was doing it. And you'd say, okay, I want to use Peloton app, so it would use that, or I want to use Zwift. It would calibrate to what would be optimal for Zwift or whatever app out there. You know, that would be a cool thing. Other than that, man, I don't have any. It's hard to say I don't have complaints, but I really do not have complaints. And since this is magnetic resistance, you know, I'm hoping that this thing lasts for thousands of miles. I'm hoping this thing lasts at least until after the pandemic. Because after the pandemic goes away, yeah, I mean, I like being able to work out at home. But ultimately, I like to be in the gym. But because of the pandemic, I'm not going to get around people in an enclosed environment. I'm not stupid. I don't want to get sick. I mean, so what if it's just like a common cold and you cough and you snort and, you know, get a little bit of a fever? You know, I didn't want that. I don't even want a cold. So I'm staying out of the gym until all this stuff clears. But while I'm at home, this is what I would recommend would be the Schwinn IC4. So again, if you're shopping for the IC4, expand this video's description and then click the link there. You can find the IC4. You can find the shoes like I use, the mat like I use, the smart TV like I use, the soundbar with wireless subwoofer like I use. And I know I sound like a salesman right now, but hey, it is good. And it's hard to find flaws. With that said, if you have a Schwinn IC4 and you've had problems, share below. I want to hear your experiences. Do you have Schwinn IC4 questions? Comment below, ask those questions, because I'm looking for video topics for upcoming videos. And I hope this video provided value. And again, I'm not trying to push you Peloton bike versus Schwinn IC4, but again, if I was buying again, and it was a question of do I want to buy a Peloton bike or do I want to buy a Schwinn IC4, I would buy the Schwinn IC4 without hesitation over the Peloton. You know, it's a solid bike. It's an affordable price point for what it is, and it's not married to one app. Even though I prefer to use the Peloton app, I can use other apps with the Schwinn IC4. And just like I don't know if I mentioned this, just like the Peloton, you get these weights, man. You know, and there's actually a lot of Peloton app workouts where you pull the weights out, and it's really cool. You wouldn't think that such lightweight weights could add to the enjoyment of a workout, but they really do. So, yeah, this was just a video response to an abundance of questions. Tons of people on my YouTube page, on my Facebook page, on Twitter. And I mean, this is how I feel. And again, I'm not trying to push anyone to buy Schwinn IC4 instead of Peloton. Because, again, Peloton is a good bike, but just keep in mind, if you go Peloton, unless they change this, if you go Peloton, you're going to be married to the Peloton subscription, which at least currently for the Peloton bike is more expensive than the subscription for the Peloton app, which you can use with a variety of different bikes. But keep in mind, if you want those leaderboards and all of those social type features or whatever you want to call it, I mean, you know, the Peloton bike and the Peloton more expensive monthly subscription, that may be better for you. But I don't feel I'm missing anything by using a Schwinn IC4 instead of a Peloton bike. If anything, I'm getting more because I got more flexibility. I can use any app I want or no app at all. And that's the beauty of it. So tell me what you think within the comment section below. Again, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell icon when you do, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. Check out my Schwinn IC4 video playlist. I've got a ton now. Everything from where I initially assembled this thing where I was really fat until now where I'm still fat, but I'm not as fat. So it's, you know, the proof's in the pudding. And this thing works. It's working for me. So I appreciate your viewership, and y'all have a good day. And best of luck with your weight loss goals. And hopefully we'll get through this pandemic soon too. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.